Hi, I'm Jacob.
I'm Micah.
I'm Mason.
I'm Tim.
I'm Liam.
And I'm Timmy.
And we're the Hurricanes!
This year's challenge was to keep food safe. FLL asked us to go explore the topic of food safety and examine the possible points of contamination. Our team decided to find and fix a food problem that impacts North America. We wanted our solution to help developing countries too.
So we chose coffee!
Wikipedia says, over 2.25 billion cups of coffee are consumed every day worldwide. Over 90% of coffee production takes place in developing countries, while consumption happens mainly in industrialized economies. This statement shows that coffee is a popular beverage and an important trade item. 63% of Canadians drink coffee each day. Canadians drink on average 2.6 cups of coffee a day. There are two kinds of coffee, coffee Arabica and coffee Robusta. 70% of the coffee products are Arabica because it's a higher quality bean. One coffee bush produces 2 pounds of roasted coffee each year. That means it takes 6 trees to satisfy each Canadian drinker each year.
Coffee was first found on the Ethiopian highlands. Legend says the berries were discovered by a goat herd and were brewed by a monk. The first people to cultivate and trade coffee were the Arabs. Soon, travelers heard news about the new drink, and by the 17th century, coffee had reached Europe. When coffee arrived in New York, tea was the favorite beverage. But after the Boston Tea Party, coffee began to gain ground. As demand grew, countries competed to cultivate coffee outside of Arabia. The Dutch grew coffee in India and Indonesia, and the French grew coffee in the Caribbean and South and Central America. In just 100 years, coffee had spread across the world and become one of the most profitable export crops.
The coffee bean is actually a seed. The seeds that are not processed are the only beans that can be planted and will grow into an actual tree. After the beans sprout, they are placed in shaded nurseries. The seedlings are watered lots and kept out of direct sunlight until they are ready to be planted. The sprouted coffee plants are planted during the wet season when the soil is wet, so the coffee beans grow well.
Depending on the variety, it takes around 3 to 4 years for a coffee tree to produce fruit. The fruit, which is known as a coffee cherry, turns bright red when it is ready to be picked. There are 2 ways to pick the cherries, by hand or by machine. Hand picking is most common and can allow the farmer to pick the ripest cherries. Hand picking is a time-consuming process. Machine picking is faster, but only works on flat ground. Machines strip pick the cherries, which means they pick all the fruit, whether it's ripe or not.
There are 2 methods to processing coffee, the dry method and the wet method. In the dry method, the cherries are laid on a mat in the sun to dry. They are raked to help them dry evenly and to reduce spoilage. After the beans are dried, the pulp of the bean is removed by machines. In the wet method, the cherries are first put through a depulper and placed in a tank of water so the pulp is washed away. In the water, the heavy ripe beans sink to the bottom and the light, unripe beans float on the top. Next, the beans are dried to approximately 11% moisture to prepare the beans for storage. The beans are now called parchment coffee.
After drying, the beans are milled. Milling has 4 steps: hulling, polishing, grading, and sorting. Hulling removes the skin from the wet processed coffee and the husk from dry processed coffee. Polishing removes any silver skin that was not removed by hulling. The beans are sorted and graded by size, weight, color, and flaws before being exported. Sorting and grading can be done by machine or by hand.
Milled beans are called grain coffee. The green coffee is loaded onto ships to be transported to other countries. The beans are put in jute and sisal bags and are loaded into huge shipping containers. Coffee's voyage can be long. Typically, it is about 4 to 12 weeks, but if there are any problems, it may take longer. During its journey, the beans may be exposed to dramatic changes in temperature, weather, and humidity. To survive the journey, the beans must be packed correctly or they may spoil. Approximately 7 million tons of coffee is shipped each year.
After being imported, the green coffee is roasted. The beans are roasted at approximately 288 degrees Celsius. They start to turn brown and take on a delightful aroma. Coffee can be roasted at 3 different stages: light, medium, or dark. Which stage the bean is roasted is decided by the roastmaster, who has already sampled the coffee. The term for sampling coffee is called cupping. After roasting, the coffee may be ground and packaged, or it may be sold as a whole bean.
The very last step in a coffee bean's life is the brewing. Next time you are about to brew some coffee, try to think about all the steps the bean took to get from the tree to your cup.
Pesticides are usually used to control the amount of bugs in your crop. They can affect the taste and sometimes hurt the crop. Pesticides are also not very good for the environment. Coffee beans usually have pesticides on them for farmers to get a bigger crop, which means more money.
The borer beetle is one of the biggest problems in coffee production. An adult borer beetle is 1.4 to 1.8 millimeters long. The beetle bores into the coffee bean and lays eggs in the bean.
Fungus and molds develop when the coffee beans are exposed to humidity and lead to the production of the dangerous toxin ochratoxin A, called OTA. When fungus and molds start to grow on the coffee, they are white and powdery looking. After growing for a while, spores start to expand, turn green, and grow harder. Just a few beans contaminated by molds can cause an entire shipment to be spoiled.
Cross-contamination is the process from dirt on one object contaminating another. The dirty skin oils on the workers contaminates the beans. It is very hard to tell if a bean is contaminated. The only way you can find out is by looking inside the coffee bean.
When cooking exceeds a certain temperature, a chemical will be formed called acrylamides. Anything that is cooked outside the temperature range of 145 to 170 degrees Celsius will have acrylamides. Acrylamides are known to cause cancer.
It is very important to the coffee industry to have coffee beans shipped around the world in a safe and clean environment. Ochratoxin A, commonly called OTA, is a dangerous toxin that is produced by mold. At any point during the shipping process, should the beans be exposed to moisture, mold can form. Beans with mold are considered contaminated and are not usable. Water vapor inside the shipping container condenses on the ceiling due to dramatic changes in weather and then rains down on the coffee beans, causing mold growth and OTA.
Before being shipped, the bagged beans are subtle stowed in huge metal shipping containers. The shipping containers may have tiny holes around the top edge to let out humidity and reduce the amount of condensation that forms on the walls and ceilings. The shippers also line the walls and ceilings with paper or cardboard to keep condensation from touching the beans.
We have invented the Hurricrate. The Hurricrate is a humidity-controlled shipping crate which uses fans, a one-way valve, and a hygrometer to stop mold from forming on beans. The crate is designed to prevent drug smuggling, and the double door has an airtight seal. The fan at the back blows air through the coffee so it won't get too humid. The hygrometer measures the humidity in the container and activates the fan when the humidity level exceeds 12.5%, which is the acceptable moisture level for coffee. The shells hold the coffee sacks in layers so air can blow through them. The one-way valves ensure air only enters and exits the crate in the right direction. When the fan is not active, the valves close. We think the Hurricrate could revolutionize the coffee industry.
Benefits of our solution include: it stops mold growth by keeping the humidity between 10 to 12.5%. There is no new packaging cost for the low-income farmers. The shipping company can remodel their existing containers at a minimal cost and use their existing shipping procedures. The distributors can order coffee knowing that all the beans will be able to be sold. As a result, consumers may get a price reduction.
To remodel an existing shipping container, you would add a fan, some shelves, a hygrometer, and 2 one-way valves.
Our team used many websites, videos, and articles to learn about the journey of coffee, the problem of mold, and existing coffee shipping methods. Some of the most useful resources were the Coffee Association of Canada, the National Coffee Association of the USA, the Cooperative Group UK, the German Insurance Association, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and the International Trade Center.
Our team went on an exciting tour to a local organic coffee company called Level Ground Trading. Level Ground was founded in 1997 and now imports green coffee from 5 different countries. Their product is sold everywhere from small local stores through large wholesalers such as Costco. Our tour was given by Tracy Cyril and Josh DeSalle. Tracy and her husband Ugo are one of 4 Canadian families who founded the Fair Trade Company. Josh is the company's roast master, in charge of the coffee blends, roasting, and all areas of quality control. Josh's knowledge is exceptional. He is only one of 18 people in all of Canada who is successful enough to pass the Q-Certified Roastmaster exam. The exam had an 80% fail rate. Josh helped us learn about where coffee comes from, how it is shipped, and how it is distributed. We enjoyed our tour at Level Ground's warehouse, roasting and packaging facilities. We got a close-up look at a real shipping crate.
Thank you, Level Ground.
Our team met with Rob Campbell, the owner of Crate Expectations, a local custom crate making company. Mr. Campbell worked in the moving business for 30 years, specializing in shipping household items around the world. While in the moving business, he started making custom crates because he was frustrated that objects that were being shipped frequently arrived broken. Now he's retired in the moving business and focuses on making approximately 250 custom crates per year. Crates are built from plywood and take 1 to 2 days to build. All his custom crates meet the NPPO ISPM requirements for wood products so they can be shipped worldwide. Mr. Campbell helped us learn about the shipping process, crate building materials, and international shipping requirements. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.